Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 56 of the 9 Hour Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. It's Lorenzo and Josh back for another episode. We're online this week because we don't have access to the podcast studio. But on today's show, it's been a big weekend for the Welshman. Gerwyn Price winning on the European Tour, and Jonny Clayton basically guaranteeing his spot at the O2. So it's the thumbnail, the title this week is all about the Welshman, as there is still more to be discussed about the European Tour and whether players are going to make their way over to many of these European tours and what that does to the overall quality of one of the great tours in world sports. As I'm joined by Josh Tahini, as always. How are we, Josh, on this Wednesday? We're actually recording this Wednesday afternoon because I've got commitments on the Thursday, so we're recording this a day early. How are you?
Yes, you're a busy man on Thursday, aren't you? Yeah, I'm good. Very well. Another monster week on and off the Oki, hey?
Yes, absolutely. Plenty going on. First thoughts, we were in Rotterdam. Interesting Premier League night. Luke Littler was sort of had the crowd against him as he's been the last couple of weeks.
Lots of booing.
Lots of booing, but it didn't quite come through on the broadcast, I think, as much as like from what was heard inside the venue.
Crowd point of view, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we also had a European tour event on the weekend as well, so we'll get to all of that. We'll sort of mixing around a few things. I wanted to mention the Darts Archive right off the top for those who hadn't watched Phil Taylor Romeo Moneyball 2007. Now, I'll actually put this in, Josh, hoping that we get a Luke Littler, Jan van Veen sort of matchup. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because Jan van Veen couldn't get the job done, but still, nevertheless, an interesting match in 2007. Barney flew out of the gates and went well clear at the break, but then that break was the real. If there was no break, it's sort of halfway through this best of 14 leg match. Phil Taylor would have lost, and that would have been his first loss in the Premier League in the history of the tournament up to that point. It was only in its third edition, and of course, it was a different format with only playing usually one game a night, maybe a second, depending on the fixture. But as it was, Barney still had opportunities to win or even draw. This match wasn't able to, so Phil Taylor getting an 8-6 victory in the 2007 Premier League night in Sheffield. Bill is this big event, obviously, off the back of the World Final. So,
big finish to win the match. Over to you, John.
Plays automatically, and now my
Jonny Clayton
really proper slow, and now it's gone back because it's completely useless. But let's get ahead to the week that we had. And we were 170, didn't we, Josh?
We did. He keeps racking them in, doesn't he?
Yes, let's see that now.
Big finish to win the match. Over to you, Jonny Clayton.
Seen 7 of these so far in the tournament. Will it be another? The big fish.
Make that
big fish finish to bring the curtain.
So that was to win the match against Michael van Gerwen, who does not have a very good record in Rotterdam, particularly under this new format. I don't think he's won a match since maybe the first year of the format, 2022, which is very.
I'm not sure. I find it pretty interesting how Johnny actually doesn't do the whole really. He's just like, yep, all good, move on.
No, that's not how it goes for Johnny.
No.
We also had some crazy moments on the European Tour, again involving Michael van Gerwen as the opponent. Michael Unterberger, who was 5th last year on the Challenge Tour, it should be noted, so he's no complete slouch. But he had a moment to forget when he just didn't realize what was happening.
Throw at the double, but you don't really do it. Not 2 balls again. Oh dear.
Oh my word.
Tell you what, he wants to take up soft tip. Yeah. He can't hit a 25 and it's not master out. What's he done there?
What are you doing?
No score.
What are you doing?
Oh, I think he didn't think the ball. I think he thought the
Surely you would check with the referee, right? Say, oh, is it in? Even if you're dead sure that it is.
So confident that it wasn't in, Josh. That was the thing.
Exactly. I know. Oh, crazy stuff. Look, you can see right there on the head. What's he thinking? Oh dear.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and he should have left himself on a double there in case Michael missed, but all the way back at 125. He didn't win that match, and Michael van Gerwen had a very weird weekend, and I'll speak that more in a moment. Let's start with the European Tour. We'll sort of go that was fresh on mine. It's Gerwyn Price continuing. He might be playing as good as anybody right now. Like in the last month, like he's been better than Luke Littler, who's been a bit all over the place.
Yeah,
Gerwyn
he's in
Price
hot
has been
form.
very, very consistent. And surely, Josh, and I've been thinking of this for like 12 months, to be fair, but it does feel like the big major event is around the corner. Unfortunately, the one big hole in the darts calendar is between the UK Open and the World Match Play, or really the World Cup. There's no big events there, and that's like 3 months of the year where it's quiet on the big majors front, the big televised titles front, and it feels like something that who knows, maybe they'll change that with we might get a few new tournaments or bring back some old tournaments or something. But even though we'll speak about later how hard this calendar is. But Gerwyn Price, he just continues to just play exceptional stuff. And picking up the European Darts Grand Prix. These are the results. A very strong weekend once again from the Iceman.
Yeah, very, very much so. Like literally every game in excess of 95. Ross Smith, who we'll get to in a minute, he was very good across the week. But again, beating Chizzy, Dorby, Schindler, Westwood Diamond, he's always had some very good stuff on the floor. Now he's converting it to the bigger stage, which is good for him. But yeah, very, very good across the week. He has had a Premier League night, so now he's just sort of continuing that form all across the way through on the big stage. So he's in some ripping good form. If you play him, watch out.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it just feels like this big major is not too far away. And maybe, Josh, it might be, we'll get to him in the Premier League standings later. It may very well be that Premier League format where he's looking pretty good to make finals night. He's no lock just yet. He hasn't got to that magical 24 points yet. But maybe that's the one.
Pretty close.
Yeah, maybe that's the one where I said there was no majors. There is the Premier League, which is sort of an ongoing thing. Maybe that might be the one that he might be finally able to convert this form into a title. He will have obviously the world number one and a fellow Welshman in all likelihood alongside him on that finals night, and he may have to beat both. But at the moment, he's just playing really, really well. And it feels like it's been ages since he's left in a big one, and it feels a bit unfair because he's been playing so well. But it's been those matches against Luke Littler where he's played really well, and then he's had darts to win it, or a dart to win it, and it didn't go. You feel like the closer we're getting closer to the final, when it finally does go, and he's finally able to pick up another big one. I'd be expecting
absolutely right
sometime this year. You know, Luke Littler can't win everything, surely.
No, he can't. Sooner rather than later for Gizzy, I reckon. No doubt. Looks very, very good.
Just really quickly, Vessel Knight just continuing to play well. He's in the world's top 16 now.
He is. I did say that. 16.
Yeah. It's quite extraordinary for someone who just hasn't done it on the TV stages yet. Now, I wonder if Luke Littler has sort of changed our perspective on this. We just assume that these things happen much quicker than they ordinarily would do. But you look at players in the past, great players, Rob Cross and Luke Humphreys are two that come to mind for me as players who were who took their while to develop. They came through the system, youth system, and began winning on the floor, and then on the European tour, and then was able to convert at the biggest stage of all, winning world titles as well. So that feels like where it's going. And I said last week, like, maybe Sonama could be in Premier League conversation, because the way he's going, he'll probably be in top by the time we get to the World Championship once again. And all it needs is like one run to a quarter or semi-final there, and he will be very high on the order of merit, where he might not be too far away.
No, I reckon he's not. No, he's been incredible on the floor. And again, massive weekend for him, semi-final. Again, I would love to see, I know this wouldn't happen, but the Premier League B thing we've been talking about countless times, I would love to just see it happen. Just like, could happen maybe on the Friday night afterwards. I don't know. Or maybe it's like some sort of, I don't know how it would work, but I would just love to see it, you know, because again, he's that quality that would be in there.
Quite the marketability, and we've got.
I know. It would maybe just be great to see.
Maybe we need to get one of the exhibition organisers to do that for us.
True.
Exhibitions, because let's be honest, the Premier League is very close to an exhibition in itself. It's I like travelling roadshow over travelling exhibition, because that feels like it's downgrading it just a little bit. The second biggest money event we've got. But we can have our own travelling exhibition where we have these 8 players and they go around playing each other in a nightly format. And maybe that's something for the exhibition organisers to organise.
True.
A Premier League B. But that would probably mean we'd have to have more current tour card holders than they're usually allowed, so that would be a break in procedure that way. But
that is
it would
true.
still be cool.
It would be very cool.
So Vessel Nyman's continuing to play great. So is Gerwyn Price. And Rod Smith is one who, again, it feels like he should be like always a little bit higher up on the rankings than he usually is. He's a strong 180 when he's on form. And hopefully we can continue to see great stuff from Ross Smith, because when he's on, it's very good to watch.
Yeah, what's he now on the main order of merit? I'm just looking now. I think he'd be, it's 15 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just one above Westwood Nyman, as you said. Yeah. So again, he's very, very close to breaking that sort of top 8 barrier if he can push for a couple good events. Again, maybe even, the top 12 could sell. Yeah. So he's definitely got some work to do if he wants to get there, but he's playing very, very well at the moment. He took on some really good opponents across the weekend. He beat Cameron Menzies 6-3 with a 96 average, then took on my man Josh Rock in a 6-5 last leg to Sada with 98 average in that one, 6-4 against Nathan Aspinall, who also had a pretty good weekend, 7-5 against Ratajski, 7-5, and then obviously losing to Price 8-6 in the final with a 96 average there. So he's playing some good stuff, no doubt.
Yeah, he really is, and hopefully we continue to see that. From it's very tough now to be at that sort of bottom end of the top 16, because it means that with like events like the match play, the Grand Prix, later rounds of the World Championship, you are likely going to be running into the number 1, the number 2, the Lokes, Van Veens, Van Goens, and those sort of players. But that's sort of the hurdle you just have to jump in order to get up nice and high into the rankings. Same on the European Tour if they show up, which we'll get to later. Let's go back to our other biggest story from the week. It was Jonny Clayton winning a 4th Premier League night in Rotterdam. He had the 4 there. I think Dutch laws mean you're not allowed to have like a trophy with a betting sponsor that's not from the Netherlands, so that's why he doesn't have the usual.
Okay, fair enough.
I think the legislation thing.
I was wondering why.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
They have it with like when
Makes
they had
sense.
the Dutch Masters, and they had, what was that? Was it Toto? What was it called? I can't remember what it was called. They were a local. They were a Dutch gambling company, so that was different. They were allowed their trophy. Not here because BetMGM isn't Dutch. So that's why that didn't happen.
Right,
I'm sure he'll receive one, just not on the night. From the Rotterdam Ahoy, he was the night. Let's start with Jonny. Once he got through Michael Van Gogh, and I thought, okay, yep, he's gonna be good here. But the big question for you was Josh Rock after getting one over Stephen Bunting. Was this a missed opportunity for Rocky here, just to
100%
further?
He was so close. I'm like, how good would it be to get him to a nightly final? Because I said in the predictions that he would get to the nightly final. He wouldn't win it, but that last leg to Sunday, he played so well. But just Jonny was, even there was a 9 point in the average differential, he just managed to claw his way over the line. He didn't play great by any means, Jonny, in that game, but obviously the rest of the night he played very, very well. But yeah, for my man Rocky, just got so close. Again, he's so due to make a nightly final. I reckon he's just playing some really, really good stuff after that. 7 or 8 games in a row of donuts. He's now made 3 semi-finals in a row, I believe. 3 or 4 semi-finals in a row. 4 in a row. There you go. Yeah. So it's pleasing to see.
You did say something to me through private messages during the week about if he'd won a couple more games early, Josh Rock, he might not be too far away in the conversation. And I do wonder 100%. If it was that bloody soap in the toilets in Antwerp that is ready
for 78. Oh my God.
Like, imagine if that didn't happen and he was able to pick up maybe, even if it's just 1 or 2 wins along the way, he could be
out of the 7.
Like,
yeah.
Bottom half of the Premier League could basically be all on the same number of points with a small gap back and forth, and we're all together for this final 5-night push. Remember, Josh, when I said that he might not be ready for the Premier League this year?
Yep.
You remember that. You remember it very well. I think the more accurate way of putting it now, after seeing what he's done the last few weeks, is it might have been a year too early for him to compete, as in make the final 4 or win the night.
Yeah,
but the way
that's fair.
the Premier League has gone and it's tightening up now in that bottom half, it's hard to see. Given you only had 8, now in an ideal world we might have had a few more players in this year's Premier League that would have made it a bit more interesting. And it would be interesting to see how these players and James Wade or Nathan Aspinall or Danny Knock coming in would make things more interesting. But if you only had to pick 8, this 8 seemed to have done a pretty good job, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've been pretty happy with him. I've been just watching him. I'm like praying that he makes, fun, because who knows, if he had picked up 2 points there, right, we'll get to the table in a minute, but again, 2 points there, maybe had an extra 4 points in that first 7 weeks. Again, you just never know. That would have gotten him in that mix. Obviously, the league difference is shocking by all means, but
Yeah.
again, just coming very, very close. Yeah, well, I'm just looking. If he had got 6 points, he would have been 14, just above Luke Humphries. But, hindsight, if but who.
Before we get to the table, Josh, let's just go back to
Yeah.
Clayton for a moment, because I love this quote for him. I heard a little
This
bit
was so
before.
interesting.
I was favourite to finish bottom. That really hurt and annoyed me.
Really?
Again, I've gone on this a few times. Like, the bookmakers don't know much about darts. They don't understand.
No.
When you had a Josh Rockingham Van Veen, two debutants who was fairly new fish now to this water, and I know that Jan Van Veen had just made the World Championship final, won a major, so he was a little bit different. And a Stephen Bunting who had finished last year. The fact that you have Jonny Clayton at the bottom, a man who has never not missed finals night, and he won't miss this one because he's got to the threshold you need.
He's locked now.
On the historical data point, it was maddening, and I think that's right to have rolled him up, and he's got to the 4. What Littler got 5 last year. That was the record in this format since 2022, and we'll see if we can get see if we can get 1 or 2 more in these concluding weeks. So let's actually go to the standings now. Last week, Josh, we said a lot about what happens with. We could see a real concertining or a real separation of the top 4 and bottom 4. And we kind of got somewhere in between that. Rock and Bunting, the winner of that match didn't kick on and win another match or 2, which would have made that more interesting. Van Gerwen lost, which was the big thing for me. The fact that he lost made things much better. So you see the table there, Clayton out in front on 29 and Littler 24. They've got to the threshold. I think it's fair to say they're safe. I think Price on 19 does make finals night, but he's no guarantee at the moment.
Needs to pick up maybe 2 quarterfinal wins. Yeah,
and I feel
maybe
like
3.
They've pretty much got to win this week. Like, if they don't win this week, they're probably not. They're not going to be. And Luke Humphries again. It feels like surely there's going to be a nightly win picked up, and he's going to.
He's so due to get one.
It's a home venue to help him along the way, and his fixtures look reasonable for getting a few more points along the way. And you'd think he'd still get a nightly title somewhere. I said last week it would probably be Clayton, Littler, Price, and Van Gerwen. But the more I think about it this week, I'm actually leaning more to Clayton, Littler, Price, Humphries, because I still fancy Humphries to get a nightly win and push there against Van Gerwen.
Okay, interesting.
Part of that also comes down to my predictions for this week, which we will get to later. But what are you thinking? When you look at this table, what are your thoughts about who can make the 4?
Yeah, I think Clayton, Littler, Price are definitely in that 3 for me. But again, it just depends on that last spot. Obviously, Van Gerwen has that 3-point buffer and also, a better league difference, -3 comparison to, -9, -19, -7. So that's good for him, even with the 6-0 walkover due to not being able to attend that night. He's still got that buffer. But, yeah, again, you think Humphrey's just due to have a really, really good night somewhere. There's 5 nights to go, so you think he's due for one. So Jan Van Veen, again, could definitely make it. That league difference is really going to hurt him in the end, I think. But he needs a couple of really big victories if he wants to contend. But I think we're looking at Clayton, Littler, Price, and probably Van Gerwen for me at the moment. At the moment, I think the 4 will be in there from 9-11.
All right, we will see. There's still 5 nights to go. But quite hasn't dragged on as much, I think. But
no, it's been good.
I feel like we still really want to get there, because that's a great night, and getting there and determining a winner of this year's Premier League.
I think personally,
I really hope. I mean, this is no disrespect to you or to Rocky, but I just still hope that Rocky finished bottom, because Bunting hasn't finished better than 8th, and he deserves better than an 8th place Premier League campaign. He should. If I can't pick him 2 years in a row, if he's finished bottom the last couple of leagues, we need him not to finish dead last again. So
he can again. As I said,
he could still win the thing if he makes 4th and goes on in a crazy final.
No, he can.
Class, theoretically.
Yeah.
So
that's
we
right.
will see. I just don't want.
It's so interesting.
Not last.
Because again, in that 7 nights, if he had won 2 nights, he would be above him. On the league difference, maybe not. But
yeah,
Yeah, it's fascinating, but I think it's good for the Premier League that Josh Rock hasn't continued to decline and he's won a few
No, it's
games.
very good. It's
That's good
excellent
for the Premier League.
the fact
That is
he's
really good.
won a few matches and
You
won a
would-
few matches in a row.
You would absolutely hate to be him stuck on, let's say, 2 or 4 points right now. That would be the worst thing for the Premier League, just in general, and the worst case for PDC.
Yeah, absolutely. Just feels like we don't need to watch. We don't need to watch the opening game of the night because it's Josh Rock playing.
Yep.
And he's going to lose. We don't want that. So that's good. I certainly agree there. But I just
It's very good.
screen. I'm sorry. I just hope. Bunting still 7th. Come on. I still
It
love
could
Bunting
happen.
as well. That could happen. Anything could happen still, Josh. For those bottom 4, any one of those
Very
could
much
still,
so.
bottom 3 could still get into the 4 and give themselves the best chance to win the whole thing and finish last. So
Yep,
we shall
that's
see
true.
how it plays out over the next 5 nights. The biggest flop from my point of view was the fact that the 2 Dutchmen lost. It's been an interesting Premier League for guys playing at home because the 2 Welshmen didn't do much in Cardiff. The 2 Dutchmen didn't do much in Rotterdam. Luke Littler became the heel after his home night in Manchester.
Yep.
It's been a very weird Premier League for guys at home. We've got Stephen Bunting coming up this week again in Liverpool and Luke Humphries as well. I wonder if there's just a bit more pressure of that playing at home factor that has contributed, or maybe it's the fact that just Luke Humphries and Jonny Clayton are playing better in the Premier League this year than Jan Van and Michael Van Gogh. That's also probably
That's
part
true.
of it.
Yeah. Interesting point. Yeah. Well, is there such thing as a home ground advantage now for these guys in the darts landscape? Who knows? But yeah, fractionally disappointing for sure. But again, they are playing against quality opponents, against Humphries, who averaged 100, and Clayton, who averaged 99. So it's not like both of them were playing bad by any means. You know, I think that's fair to say, at least.
Absolutely. Let me just go back to the table. Got the two Dutchmen. Oh yes, the Northern Irishman was. I was forgetting there's like one other player missing here. So yeah, so the 2 Welshmen didn't do anything. The 2 Dutchmen didn't do anything. Josh Rock, yes, he hit the 9 data, but then he had a debacle in Belfast.
Yeah.
Luke Littler was the heel in Manchester. So we've got Bunting in Liverpool and Humphries in Leeds. Still to come from the home ground advantage.
Will we see another 9 data? That's a question. Do you reckon we will?
Bunting 9 data in Liverpool or a Humphries 9 data in Leeds would be special. Right. The disappointing moment, it was another weekend. It felt like it was it wasn't a regular thing. It was just sort of bits and pieces or on the on and off. Is that fair, Josh?
Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, it did happen on and off. And Hewitt, again, in the center of this all, he talked to the security guard. We'll roll the clip now.
Here we go.
And the referee, Hugh Ware, is just informing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just told security, if you carry on whistling, please do. But you'll be thrown out the venue immediately. It's just so you know, okay?
Go on, Him.
Just so you know, I like.
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
Very classy, as always, by Hewitt.
Yeah. So look, we had the Bunting thing a few weeks ago. There was going to be a little bit of an issue. It wasn't as big, and maybe that's the thing you just need to. Well, like we talk about, like I still think the security is the main problem with this thing. That they're not throwing people out. Maybe we just need the referee, who people I think over-index on their importance of this. Maybe their only job is to go to the guy that's sitting there and go, "Hey, you see that bloke there in the green shirt? He's the one who's annoying us.
Chuck
Get
him
him
out."
out." So perhaps that's what's needed from a referee point of view. It was an interesting tactic from Hugh Ware in that Gerwyn Price game to stop the game, to go over to the referee to tell them, "Hey, you need to be doing your job better here," which is an interesting move to say to a security guard.
I think all security should be alerted by referees, PDC officials on the very start of the night to go, "Hey, if this happens, chuck them out of the venue, no questions asked." Like, it can't be that hard, right? You do like a pre-briefing prior to the night.
Happening much, Josh, or maybe it is that hard. I don't know.
Maybe it is, but again, it is obviously frustrating for the players, for the referees, and everything like that. So, and I'm sure spectators who aren't doing it also find it quite frustrating.
I'd imagine. Yeah, so it was an interesting move from Hugh Ware, slight disappointing moment, but it wasn't like a regularly occurring thing throughout the weekend. Right, I've got a few different ideas I just want to throw at you, Josh, and at the
Sure.
listening audience. So take it or leave it, or fight with me if you will. So I felt like that the last few European tour events have been they've been acceptable European tour events, but they haven't been quite the strongest, and we have missed a few of the big names. So what you're seeing on screen now for the YouTube viewers, describing for the audio listeners, is Armageddon 40. Which is the biggest darts exhibition, certainly by people in the venue, in England. And it's coming up on the 8th of May 2026. And some big names there. Adrian Lewis will be there, Trina Gulliver, Simon Whitlock, the Aussie, will be there, of course, Glenn Durrant, but some more prominent contemporary names, if you will, Carl Sedlacek. But the big names there, of course, are Nathan Aspinall, my man Stephen Bunting, and Luke Littler. And this event occurs, the 8th of May occurs on a Friday. It is the same day is the start of the next European Tour event, which will be held in Graz, Austria, which is a nightmare to get to. There's no direct flights from the UK to Graz. It's either like your options are like fly to Vienna and then take the train, or fly to somewhere else in Germany that has direct flights to Graz. So Graz doesn't have an airport. Okay. You don't get there directly, like how you don't get basically directly from Australia to anywhere in like the UK or the US. You have to connect them somewhere. It's a similar sort of deal. So with the last few European tour events not as strong, and I feel like that, like the missing place, it's a big thing for some of these guys, because like a lot of these European tour events are going to be held in places, Sindelfingen, where you're not going to be able to easily get to like a Premier League night in Berlin or Rotterdam or wherever. Like it's going to be a bit out of the way, and to not have the big names there is frustrating. I just wrote down here, if you go to the 2026 Austrian Darts Open, which is what we're discussing, and you look at the seeds, like here's some of the ones that stood out on the seeds. Like it's Van Veen and Van Gerwen who are the top two. Okay, fair enough, because
Makes sense.
there's no Lukes. Here are some of the ones that stood out. Mike De Decker is the 11th seed. We know how well he's playing. Damon Hetto was at least able to get one win on the Euro Tour this week, and he's the 12th seed. Darryl Gurney is 15, and Rob Cross is 16.
Yeah, wow.
So there's some players lingering around the bottom of the top 20, outside the top 20, who are going to be seeds for this Euro Tour event. I'll be also interested to see if there are any more dropouts. Already one, Manus Rasmus, has been called up on the reserves list, because then we could potentially see Bo Greaves, and if things get really chaotic, even Adam Leake could go to, because he missed out on the last round of the Euro Tour 6 qualifier. Leake is unlikely, though Greaves is a bit more likely, but we'll have to wait and see if there are any more dropouts and how much further down the reserves list we go. It's just getting a bit. I'm just getting a bit worried for some of these European tours that and there was a lot of discussion about the changes they made to the Euro Tour qualification, having been like to try and encourage these top players to go there, the likes of Littler and Bunting, because hey, you're going to be seen straight to the second round. You don't need to worry about playing in a qualifier or anything like that. And that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. And perhaps that's also down to the fact of the thing we've discussed on the show so many times of not having a guaranteed pay structure. Because like what Bunting and Littler must be getting paid for this might be more than they're making the final or a semi-final at the European Tour. So there's just a lot of things on the calendar now which are perhaps more enticing even for the top professionals to go to. Any thoughts on anything I've said, Josh? And have you noticed the downgrade in the quality on the Euro Tour over the last couple of events, just slightly?
Yeah, I just wonder if these top players not like don't care, but like don't see it as a good use of their time, you know, because obviously we've seen lots of top players complain about the travel or being a nightmare to get to. We've seen tons on Instagram stories and all that from, you know, Clayton, Littler and all. So just a question of, do these top end players value the time and effort to go to these events, especially that are out of the way, and do they think it's a good use of their time? That's the main thing. And if they don't, then again, the quality of the players and the quality of the competition, you know, goes down. So that isn't good. But I don't have to agree that the quality at the moment isn't as good as what it could be, for sure, if these top guys not being there, or some of them at least.
Or just kind of like, it isn't not as important as perhaps it could be, because like it gets you into like one major tournament, the European Championship, and if you like look like you just need to win like a couple of the European Tour events you show up to. There's only one European Tour between now and the match play, which I think Luke Littler will play. It's in Bratislava, Slovakia. It's the only one that's not in Germany. outside of this one in Austria that he's not going to. And it's also the very first one they're being held there. So he'll want to be, I was the first one to win it. So
Yeah, he will be.
you know what Littler's
And
like.
multiple of them. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for Bratislava, I think we'll see plenty go there to Slovakia. But outside of that, we're probably going to see this more as a recurring thing. And it just remains there. It's great opportunities for people like Bessel Lyman who just show up to these Euro tours and keep winning.
Oh, yeah.
And go and Price and the like. But I'm just not sure what the right way for the PEC is to try and it's not the fact that if it was the occasional one, then yeah, okay, it is what it is, and sometimes you do have to manage your schedule. But I wonder if it's just like these European tours, because it won't affect Luke Littler getting to the World Match Play. He's already there, and it's like we probably don't talk enough about when we're talking about who's going to play in the Premier League, for example. We're rarely talking about how well a guy did on the European tour. It might be occasionally brought up, but it's not like the people who thought Danny Noppert should be in the Premier League were completely ignoring the fact that he didn't win a European tour, and that feels like it shouldn't matter. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't. It's more about the majors, and you could argue a case for Noppert's inclusion of the Premier League before it started on the basis of he made a bunch of major semi-finals. So the majors are the important ones. The World Championship is. That's why James Wade doesn't.
That's a pinnacle. Yeah.
Keep getting picked for the Premier League because he keeps losing at the start of the World Championship, which is the most recent event and the biggest event. And it's like, well, can we really trust you to be in that much good form before he inevitably goes on around at the UK Open or something? So for
you can always have a stinker in these big events, of course.
That is true as well. But that's the thing as well. It goes back to if you're outside the Premier League, you can't afford to have a stinker at the World Championship.
That's true.
That way, you can win a World Grand Prix and lose your first match of the World Championship and not get picked. We saw that with Mike Dedecker. Who's now an 11 seed for a European tour where it doesn't feel like he should be anywhere near that high. Look, it's great for other names and it's great for us hardcore darts fans because we get to see more interesting names. But does it attract the casual viewer? Does it attract people to actually who's close to Graz to go? I actually want to go to a darts event, and then we've got this one in my country and Luke Littler and Stephen Bunting, the two players I really want to see aren't being there. So
that's true.
There's just so much
it's tough
complications to this, and perhaps the PEC maybe needs to be a bit more selective with where they're going and be like, well, yes, we could go there, but you're a bit maybe they just need to select the European tours based on where players are most likely and easiest for them to actually turn up rather than
go to
what's going to give us the best immediate sponsorship deal or something.
Yeah, well, sponsors and partnerships obviously play a huge role in functioning darts and PDC, but yeah, it's something's got to give in a way. Do you give away what a potential venue could be, as in this event, I'm sure the crowd was all right. Again, do you sacrifice it and move it to somewhere else where it's maybe a smaller crowd, but it's easier to get to, and the top echelon of people are wanting to go there because it's easier and they want to actually be in that atmosphere? I don't know. I'm not sure. That's the PDC to decide.
When we got the calendar last year, the European tour at the moment is all just sort of they're all all the countries there can be connected to each other, right?
That's true. Yeah.
We don't have anything like we used to with Gibraltar, who was sort of all out by itself. So it will be one that's interesting. I'll just make this point while we're sort of talking about the calendar sort of thing. And Matt Porter discussed this with an interview with the famous Mr. Phil Bars of Online Darts at the
Live Lounge.
Interview. Yes, exactly. Host of the Live Lounge. He being Matt Porter was discussing the fact that the World Series next year, there were plans to go back to the Middle East, but with the ongoing geopolitical situation, will that happen? So it will be interesting to see also in that regard what they do with the World Series. And I've been sort of thinking over the last recent while it might be good to turn merge sort of the Euro Tour and the World Series into a sort of global tour of a similar sort of nature. So who knows? They might do that if instead of going to into Graz, we're coming to Melbourne for the Australian Darts Masters ranked event. We'd love to
go that there.
But a place like the US, which might be more enticing, like playing in ranked Darts Madison Square Garden, it might generally be more enticing for a player than struggling to make your way over to Graz. It'd be easier to get to, it's just one flight.
That's true.
It's further away, but it from that regard might be easy to get to. But
Interesting.
yeah, it's something that the PDC will need to keep an eye on, because at the moment, even the top echelon of players are taking exhibition money over the ranked product,
Yeah, they are. That's true.
which
Very,
is
very
a
interesting.
big problem. I don't have a future star this week, Josh, as we speed right along, but we will continue on, and we will go to the CDC, who had a fantastic running of the cross-border challenge. This was great, Josh. It's up. The whole thing was streamed on their YouTube channel, so I recommend giving it
Ah, cool.
a watch. It was absolutely brilliant. Ross Bray was there calling, including the
that.
final, of course, the great man, the voice himself, doing a great job overseas, as we know. It was David Cameron, not the former UK Prime Minister, but the Canadian darts player who won. So the cross-border challenge, the top 8 US and the top 8 Canadian players, and they play against each other on day one. And you'll notice, Josh, a sweep for the Canadians, almost 7-1 in the Nations Cup, a demolition of from the Canadian point of view. Adam Savada was the lone American who got through against the 3-time world champion John Part.
John Part.
Yes,
Wow.
he's still playing on that.
He rocked up. 76
Great.
average.
Yeah, exactly. In the final, it was Adam Savada, the lone American left, who was able to brave his way to the final. It was the first of these CDC majors held in Canada, and it was a great job. The atmosphere was great. The stage looked good.
Excellent.
The stream seemed to work fine all the way through, which can sometimes be a little bit of difficulty for some darts tournaments and organizations, but the CDC seemed to do a very good job there. And David Cameron, that final was excellent. It was sort of nip and tuck through the first half, and then they went to a break and came back. And David Cameron, his timing in the second half of that final was absolutely fantastic. 94.80 average and a 7-3 win for David Cameron, which puts him into the World Darts Championship. He's our first international qualifier for the new year. So well done to David Cameron, picking up the first of the 48 international qualifier spots. The CDC is going well, and it was really great to see, and I think it continues to show Josh something we've talked about a lot, about these international affiliate tours, which do great jobs, but we haven't seen these guys come up across on the Pro Tour, on the PDC side of things just yet, and that comes down to the difficulty of getting over there, and being able to sustain yourself, and because it would be a nightmare to fly back and forth between North America and wherever they hold these Euro Tours and Euro Tour qualifiers and Pro Tour events in Europe. I'm beginning to go more and more to the idea that, if you win the CGC Order of Merit, here's a tour card, off you go, and here's £10,000 as well, which we've discussed on the show before. Now there's a lot of really great names and a lot of really impactful names, Josh, and I wonder if one day they might be added to the brand new CDC Hall of Fame, which was announced during the week. So Larry Butler, who won the 1994 World Match Play, the first that one, the American, and John Part, of course, the 3-time world champion, along with Darren Young, was the first inductees into the CDC Hall of Fame. Butler and Part.
What a nickname! Just quietly.
Yes. And Darren Young was also inducted, but he'll be given his moment in the sun, so to speak. They'll commemorate him when we get to Philadelphia, when the CDC goes to Philly. For
excellent
an event there. So well done to the 3 inductees, Butler, Part, and Young. Very, very well done. And well done to the CDC for putting on a fantastic event. And hopefully we'll see more North American players make their way over. And hopefully the PDC do some things that they probably should have done about 10, 15 years ago to make that more of a possibility. Right, Josh, we're going to come to outside of the world, sort of.
Yes.
Because we've got a Kiwi here.
Yes, Jack Sheppard, he won the WDF North Island Masters, so it's part of the WDF. 4 years on from claiming his only youth title, he won a senior WDF event. He won North Island Masters. He beat Johnny Tata, who we've seen live in the last 8, before defeating Hunter Ailes 5-0 in the final. He's now back in a provisional lakeside spot, so that is absolutely huge for the young man. The results on the next slide. No averages, we couldn't find them, but 4-3 against Tata, 4-3 against Richard Taylor, and 5-0 in the final against Hunter Ailes, as mentioned. So he had a very, very good weekend, pictured there with lots of medals and trophies and whatnot, but he's looking in a very, very good shot to get a place, to get a provisional lakeside position, which would be absolutely huge for him, no doubt.
Absolutely. Series 13 came to an end, and Josh, this was some final between Jack Drayton and Steve Green. No Derek Colson, unfortunately.
No. Fifth appearance and didn't make it.
He was
No.
1-1. He lost to Neil Duff, which knocked him out.
Yeah.
But it was Steve Green and Jack Drayton, and what a
This was
fascinating match this was.
Did
Drayton went
you
up-
watch it?
I watched it. Yes, I watched
3-0 up, and he nearly bottled it.
it was 3-0 up, and in every leg as well, he looked like this is going to be
Yeah.
the one. He's going to get his moment. And
Yeah.
he missed, and he missed, and he missed, and Steve Green didn't miss. And all of a sudden, it was 3-on. It's like, what is going on here?
He had a
But he
championship
got
dart,
it.
Steve Green.
Yeah, and he got one. He got one dart.
Missed
to
at
win.
tops. Oh my god, agonisingly close. Like that dart there, difference between £25,000 to spot the ADC Global Championships and nothing. So, but Drayton held his cool in the end and just managed to get the 4-3 victory. So that was a cracking fun. I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be a boring 4-1 victory, maybe 4-2 at best. But I couldn't believe it. Green just pegged back. That wasn't enough in the end.
It was hard to believe that we went from looking like it might be a 4-0 demolition job to all of a sudden.
Oh no.
Well, what if Jack Drayton would have thought about if he went to bed that night having blown a 3-0 lead?
Oh my God. Nightmares.
That would have been antagonizing for him, but it didn't happen.
No.
So we got a 4-3 win in the final to win Series 13. I wanted to ask you, Josh. 13 series now down at MODUS. We've got a specials week this week, and
Yes,
it
we
might
do.
be better for perhaps any international listeners to contact us, let us know in the YouTube comments, or let us know where we think the MODUS Super Series is at after all these years. It's certainly been impactful in terms of getting players prepared for the big stage, which we've seen with likes of, obviously, Luke Littler's the big one, but even someone like Charlie Manby as well, and we really helped them go along. I wonder I just wondered this because obviously they're on Pluto TV, so depending on where you are in the world, it's perhaps a little less accessible. Here in Australia, we still get the YouTube live stream, so it's very
Which is
easy
good.
for you and I
Yeah.
to pop on and give it a watch. So they're doing very well. I just wonder if, because like their Twitter page is like, but it's also like this is every Twitter page ever. It's like 1,000 views and like 4 likes, but that's partly just how Twitter operates, where you get way more impressions, which is just people scrolling by it, than any actual interaction with it. So I don't know, and it'll be interesting to see. Clearly, it's going well enough because they're holding events there basically every week of every year. Is MODUS in a fairly good spot as the way you see it?
Yeah, I think it's in a better spot than ever. Again, I think the next slide shows it well. So all the different names of the 13 champions, obviously, in Series 1 begun it. And then our man Raymond Smith won it, Series 2, Littler, Jim McEwen, Scott Taylor, Andreas Harrison. That's been very good for him. We've seen his growth and development where it is now. Marvin Van Vels and Darius Labanauskas, he's playing good on the stage again. But it's these 4 guys here. Jensen Walker, young guy. Actually, not Jeff Smith, sorry. Charlie Manby. Jack Drayton. Do you know that he's 19 years of age?
Yeah,
It looks like he's 29, but he's actually 19. So there you go. He's a young kid.
They don't look their age, do they, Josh?
Littler's look 16. Oh god.
Yeah, Littler's never looked his age. Stephen Bunting's never looked his age. It's quite something.
Even Paul Lim.
Even Paul Lim doesn't look like in his 70s.
Hasn't aged today.
Players and their ages, which is like, can you Mike McGowan's in like his mid-30s? Does that feel right? Like Jonny Clayton's in his earlier 50s, I think. I think he's in his early 50s. So it's something. I think Gerwyn Price is roughly the same age as Bunting as well. So there's actually something in that. Which we look into darts players and their ages. Maybe that's the segment for next week. But yeah, so certainly and let us know in comments in other places if you're listening at this point. What's your interaction with MODUS? Are you a regular watcher of it? Is it something that you sort of you listen to this podcast and go, oh yeah, they do MODUS, and then don't bother watching it this week? I'd be interested to know if it has the interaction in the darts community, because in terms of like the what we're seeing with the darts being thrown at the board and the quality and where these players are going thereafter, it's been absolutely tremendous, and it's going from strength to strength.
It's a very watchable quality, yeah.
Seeing, like the numbers in terms of people viewing it and how important it is to the darts fans that we are, and likely you are if you're listening to this at this point. What it's like for you listening to or viewing MODUS, whether it's a regular thing that you're doing or if it's just sort of thing that you pop in and out of every now and then. So I'll be interested to know. But well done to Jack Drayton for winning the 13th MODUS Super Series. We go to the international pairs
Jeez.
now.
Yes, how good.
Australian entry makes me very
Oh,
upset. But maybe next time.
hopefully.
You'll sort of happen straight away with us, especially now that Simon's off the tour with Mason or maybe Paul Nicholson. But anyway, we won't talk about that. These are the 12. The 12 teams are on your screen now, and Group A. So we are again recording this on a Wednesday because we can't do Thursday. At this point, 10 games played, and it's Belgium on top. Josh.
Yes, it is. So the Belgium pair is Brian Roman and Andy Bartens. So Bartens, thank you. So yes, Formula X winner, exactly. So they're going well. But how good is it to see David Munya and Peter Wachuri back on the stage as well? We also see Campbell and Jim McEwen. Who else do we see? John O'Shea and Connor Heenahan, who are actually the defending champions. So they look to defend their title for sure. So
they're two stalwarts of MODUS, those two for the
they are.
They're like if we had to do a MODUS Super Series Hall of Fame, maybe they'd be in it for their regular occurrences and performances that we've seen from them.
Yeah, I think Connor Heenahan hit a 9 darter on that stage as well. I'm pretty sure once. So he's got lots of history behind us.
In the old MODUS Super Series online
live league.
He's done a ton in that sort of space there, Heenahan.
He has, yeah, but it's a great competition. I watched it last night. It's always good to see doubles again. It's just a funky, different form of the game. We love seeing it for sure. It's great.
It was actually, damn it, I was going to add this, but I didn't. I believe there was, speaking of pairs, I believe there was an Indian World Cup qualifier that Nitin Kumar came through.
Right. Was it a 30 average like last time? Overall?
I think there might have been a few. I think there might have been a few in the 40s or something. You and I sort of standard from the Indy qualifiers, which is
I was in the 50s. Come on.
Okay. It's just me then. It's just
in the most part.
Yeah.
Most part.
But, yeah. So I think we'll see him at the World Cup as well. Looking forward to that as always.
That's good.
Can't take anybody who doesn't like the World Cup. You can't trust them, Josh. It's such a great event.
That's right.
Looking forward to seeing Heta and Leek on the stage there. Now, all right, so speaking of our performances, now I just want to make something abundantly clear. Those 3 average numbers, which are the most important numbers, are not the fairest representation of what happened in this match, right? So let's start with a few things. I was playing very well in warm-up, and then I absolutely flew out of the gates. 30 dart finish there, on double 12. I was throwing darts so well that my flights were coming out, my Damon header flights were coming out of the back a ton because I was throwing them all in the same spot, so they were knocking them out. I was playing very well, and then as per usual, I couldn't back it up, and Josh was 2-1 up, and I think I'd left myself a finish or got close down to a finish, and I was averaging 44, and I thought that's a fair representation. Josh will pin the double and we'll be fine, and then nobody could hit a double. It was insane.
Oh man, those first 2 legs were great.
Like half those darts are double.
Me too.
I want them to go, and I wanted you to win so we can move on with our lives. And every time, I was looking at my average, it went down almost a point at a time. Every one of these visits, I couldn't hit. It
hurts.
I can't hit double 2, Josh.
It hurts.
So yeah, 1 for 23 on the doubles and 3 for 28 is not a fair representation, and I wanted to prove this. So in the immediate aftermath of playing this, I played a match against the Dartbot level 6, which is the average is 46 to 50, and there I was with the 43.5 average. I missed 1 match dart at my favorite double 18, a 31 and a 33 dart leg. I just want to throw that out there just to prove that, because the Dartbot is going to it's going to finish at 33 legs. And what was that last leg? What was that worst leg, Josh? You've cut that out there at the bottom there. Well, how many darts did it take for us to finish that leg? It was like 45 or something.
Hang on. I can do it. Here we go. 54. There you go.
Oh, that's all. It took 50. It did feel like 54. That's terrible. Oh my word.
Indian qualifier standards.
As well. Oh my goodness, I wasn't even looking at that point.
It happens. I
thought we got to past 39, in for 40. So I just assumed it was somewhere there. Oh, that is even worse. Oh no. That is terrible. And here's the thing, Josh. I love double 4 because it's right next to that double 18, which I like. And then every other double on the board is no good. And I missed the double 4 inside by that much. And then I was like, These doubles were nowhere close. Other than maybe a few at the Madhouse. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that result in there just to prove that I was playing at a better level than usually I do. So
No, fair
between
enough.
this performance, this first one, and this one, they sort of evened out to sort of be where it should have finished up in the above 40. And by the way, just the difference between me averaging, like consistently averaging 39 and 41 is like the difference between little averaging 85 and 105 and how it feels. It's like, this is amazing. I'm averaging 2 points better than usual. Yay! I just feel so different. It's a weird thing.
There you go.
Anyway, that was the so I just won another match.
I was on a maximum twice. I think it was 180. I definitely had 2 cracks at it, so
Yeah.
got close again. Not to me though.
In warm up, I was on a 180. Obviously, didn't hit it, but I hit the first.
Yes. Have faith.
There we go. But the way they were coming out, I was so happy. Anyway, this is much closer to what Josh usually does, 50 average, in a 5-5 draw. Once again,
Another draw.
The draws are back in vogue. I like to see a good draw. In many sports, is many people hate it. I think it's a funny result, so that's why I
It's good. It's good. Very, very close contest, this one. I think it was the right result. I think I came back. I think it was 5-3 up. I got the last 2 legs, I'm pretty sure. But no, very, very good quality match.
When you do that, when a play does that, like you get to right to the point of defeat and you're able to fight back and get a little something. That's always good.
That's true.
23 high score, 23 data along the way. Could have
bad.
Doubles from the both of you, but other than that, good stuff.
Not too bad at all. Yeah. So that's always good fun. I think there's 2 or 3 weeks to go. So coming to the end of it.
For anyone just joining us on the podcast for the first time, is the Dust Down Under Division 2 that Josh plays in.
Shout out to all the guys.
He was right up the top last year, and then
oh god,
did a mock sports bet thing. Where
you have to again, really.
Favorite in a top of the table clash, and then win the game for the rest of the tournament, and failed to be promoted into
rest of the tournament. 1. Is it the rest?
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
You did win a game since, Josh.
Wow.
I remember every word of that reel I made.
That's fair.
To week 15, Josh, tell us who you're playing and what's the state of the league.
Yes, so Dalton Neville, he's one of the regulars that tunes into the show. Shout out to him. He had a video that got like, I swear, like 10 million views just on like randomly on Instagram, and he's blown up. So great to see him. He does some great content. I'll show you later. I think it was just on like a missed check-in or something. I'll show you later. So
it is weird when you put it this way.
It's so
like,
weird.
A mundane thing can get 10 million views, and something you pour your heart and soul into gets nothing. Like it's extraordinary.
There was no hashtags, no nothing. It was just like straight up weird. It happens. That's what social media is sometimes. You just gotta keep trialing and error. So go follow his work. He does some very, very good stuff. No ladder.
You're telling me that our brilliant interview, or your brilliant interview, I filmed it. Our brilliant interview with Owen Binks didn't get anywhere near as enough traction as like a missed checkout or something.
I think the album got like 10K. It was good.
Yeah,
it was great. Really enjoyed it. No, well, not yet. We'll get one that does that. Anyway, no table for you to say, but he is 4th last. But again, that should be a good contest for sure. It's always good fun as we head to night 12.
Josh, time to get out those predictions and
yep, I've got it for you on the slides
as well.
Yep, I've got it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So I'll read through the standings and then we'll through the fixtures. Just to remind the audience, Maine is going to play Gerwyn Price in the first quarterfinal of the night, assuming there's no news between right when we're speaking and when this night actually gets underway, which there probably will. Jonny Clayton, Josh Rock takes on Michael Van Gogh, and then Luke Humphreys takes on this really unknown chap called Luke Littler.
Unknown.
Maine, Gerwyn Price to kick off the night, Josh. How much chaos are we going to try and manifest along the way, I wonder?
We always love manifesting chaos. All right. I think just the way he gets in, he's going to be too good. 6-3 to Price. Going to continue his outstanding form as of late. 6-3.
6-4 to Gerwyn Price, I reckon.
6-4. All right. I like it. Okay. Bunting Clayton.
In front of his home crowd against Jonny Clayton. Clayton will probably get the pants 9 boos, but unfortunately, for Stephen Bunting, this is not. He's playing perhaps like if you had to ask like the big darts fans, like your favorite players, Jonny Clayton would not rank very highly. But if you just gave them like a thumbs up and a thumbs down, a sort of approval rating sort of thing, do you approve or disapprove of this player? Jonny Clayton would have a very strong approval rating. There's basically nobody that actively dislikes him or cheers against him, even if he's not their favorite player. So
That's true.
unfortunately for Stephen, the crowd probably isn't going to feel the need to be like to be completely tormenting him like they might, like they probably will do with Luke Littler, given he's a Man U fan playing in Liverpool.
Good point.
Just last week I tipped against Clayton, even though I didn't want to.
You did?
So this week I'm gonna tip for Clayton because I think he probably will be.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that in a weird way I'll be manifesting chaos by doing the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do. Maybe when you try and maybe when you predict normality is the best way to manifest chaos. Maybe that's what it is. Jonny Clayton 6. We'll go 6-4 again. 6-4 to Johnny.
6-4. Okay, I will go. Well, you were sold on, pretty sold on Bunting winning last week, but it didn't happen. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we were a bigger podcast, Josh, the face I made in you saying that Rock would win 6-2 would be like a meme at this point. And I said I don't think that'll happen. Like just saying Josh would win as lopsided as 6-2, and it did it because he won 6-1.
Even better, hey. All right. I think Bunting will bounce back. I think obviously Johnny's been crazy good, but I think he'll have a bit of an off night. But obviously we hope he has a great night. But for the sake of manifesting chaos, Bunting 6-5 last league decider. Right. Let's do it.
All right. You're the one who's putting the weight on Bunting there. Maybe that'll help you. Maybe that few extra points on our average will help. Right.
Perhaps.
Josh Rock and Michael.
Huge game.
Huge game. Gerwyn.
Oh, actually, hang on. But prior to you saying anything, you said that you don't see him winning until this night.
Yes,
this night.
Exactly. And you know what, Josh?
What's happened since then,
I think he's going to win this night. I've got him to win.
Who?
Rocky.
Really?
And yes, I think he does.
To win the night?
Well, to win this match. I'll tell you if he wins the night later. But
okay.
I basically did say several weeks ago that he wouldn't win until this particular point. He'd be out on
You did.
That did happen. He's 4-7. But I thought at the time I thought he'd beat Michael Van Gerwen in this quarterfinal, and I think he will beat Michael Van Gerwen in this quarterfinal. 6-3 to Josh Rock, please.
6-3. Okay.
So here I've got to distinguish between the two rocks here. Between the two Joshes here, excuse me.
All right. I'm gonna back my man Josh Rock. We'll go same scoreline. 6-3. I like it. That seems a pretty.
And the last match
prediction
of the quarterfinals is Humphreys Littler. I think we basically have to pick 6-5 because that seems to be the only margin these two work in best of 11.
So true.
So 6-5.
Yep.
Does
who will get it?
Luke Humphreys is bound to do something here, and the Liverpool crowd won't want to see the Man U fan get the win. So I'm going 6-5 Luke Humphreys to finally get over the line.
Okay.
The nuke. Are you with me or are you against me, Josh, in that prediction?
I have tipped Humphreys, like I swear, 2 weeks in a row to win the nightly, to win his quarterfinal and then to make the final and win it. So one more hurrah. We're doing Humphreys again. We'll do it. 6-4.
Okay, 6-4. I had a feeling you might do 6-4. All right, Josh, we might be very similar here in the end.
Where do you stand?
Wins the night in Liverpool. You go first.
Okay. All right. So top end Price, Bunting, lower end Rock, Humphreys. This is a tough one. I think Rock will make the final, although I don't think he will win. I think Price will win. He'll continue his outstanding form. That's a bit boring, I know. He will win the night, Gizzy Price, and it'll be a 6-3 victory over Rock. But I think Rocky will shake a few games around, and he'll make the final 6-3. What about you?
In the top half, Price and Clayton. Clayton's just playing too well in the Premier League to deny him yet another route to the final, so he beats Price. And look, I think this is just going to be the thing with Josh Rock. I think he's going to win his quarterfinal match and not go any further. So I have Humphreys to make the final, and I have a feeling that this will be the week for Cool Hand. He's going to win 6-4 in the final against Jonny Clayton. So
Okay.
14 full hand for me, Josh, to win. And I'm sort of hoping it's in a similar vein to last week. We'll get a Humphreys Bunting final, but I'm predicting 6-4 Humphreys victory in the final
6-4.
over Jonny Clayton. 6 legs to 4. That's one.
Okay. Done. That'll be posted shortly. There you go. Very, very good.
In the week ahead, we have quite a bit going on. We're not going to really focus on the CDC China City League. We don't need to worry about that. But there's still other things. The CDLC tour gets underway, including their World Cup of Darts qualifier. Who makes it through from the Caribbean and Latin America? Should be interesting. The development tour resumes with their next 5 events or so. I've actually put development tour 8 there twice in that cutoff. That's
That's all right.
Bless me. We've got the Nordic and Baltic Tour, weekend number 3 in Finland. The DPNZ continues with
2 Pro Tour events there. Yep.
As they continue their race for the ANZ Premier League. Somebody please give us some more information on that. And
Please,
on
come on.
Qualifier as well for the World Championship as well. That's replacing the DPA. So hopefully that comes out soon enough. And yeah, so there's 3 CLDC events, 2 DPNZ events. The CLDC also has the World Cup qualifier as well as the development tour. And if I feel like mentioning the PDC China City League, we'll mention that as well.
China City League. Hell yeah.
The Darts Archive. Oh boy, we're going.
Yes.
Premier League. I feel like we've mentioned this night before, but not this match. Peter Wright and Gary Anderson, the 2 Scots.
Yes, so this whole video in itself has all 4 games for the night. So the actual
I think the PDC did this during COVID's when a lot of their events got
watch
scuppered.
party.
So it was instead of we should have been in Berlin tonight, so instead we'll upload an entire Berlin Premier League night on our YouTube channel, which is very helpful for guys like you.
Very helpful for us as well. Yeah.
Matches put in the Darts Archive because they're
Very
all
much
there.
so.
At some point, Josh, if we keep doing this enough years, we'll end up we'll just end up using an entire night at some point.
Oh, we will. No doubt.
Like even a 7-1 match, it's like, it's good enough. The guy has 105. It's interesting enough.
Yeah, so all the games are in the video, hence why Smith, a very young Smith and Whitlock are playing, but that's not the game we're going to. At 1 hour, 22 minutes and 32 seconds, we have Peter Wright and Gary Anderson, easily the game of the night. Very, very good fixture. Tight tussle all the way through. Wright gets a crucial break and pounces on Gary's mistakes. Very high averages and a cracking last 3 legs to decide the game. It's best of 12, so a draw could be on the cards. We'll find out next week.
All right, this episode will be made available as an audio only soon after upload. I'm not entirely sure when we will do this. If we'll do this on the Wednesday, we might as well do this on the Wednesday night.
Yeah, may as well. Why not?
Day instead, and but whenever it is, we'll put it up. Follow the 9R podcast on Instagram as well as Extra Time as well. I'm hopeful that we might see a few more other things on this channel very shortly. All right, Josh, thank you so much for sitting down for me. We'll be back.
Pleasure as always.
I'd imagine you'd be happy to go back in the studio next week.
Yes, well, we'll be there.
It'll be available for us to go into.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe to Extra Time. Follow us on social media. Enjoy the darts this week as they head to Liverpool for Stephen Bunting's home Premier League night. It should be interesting. Thank you for listening to us over this last hour or so. It's been great fun. Thanks again, Josh.
No worries.
Enjoy your weekend wherever you are around the world. This has been the 9R Podcast.